how might we substantially increase the likelihood that the conversations we're having go well and don't devolve into arguments or both people leaving the discussion not feeling quite so good? Well, one way to do this is to intentionally create a peaceful environment. Well, what does that mean? How do we do that? Well, first, we'll want to objectively monitor our conversations for any escalating emotional activation, both in ourselves and in the person we're talking with. Start with yourself. Monitor your expression. What's your voice tone like? What are your gestures like? And your behavior like? And you're looking for any signs of agitation. If you find those signs, then you'll need to decide what to do next. You can certainly use the question that we've had all along, which is, am I in the pattern? In other words, are you in a pattern of rising escalation, rising agitation? In other words, an anger pattern. And is this at a low enough level that you can actually stay in the discussion? If it is at a low enough level, you're simply going to ground down, deep breathe, and settle your body and disconnect from any righteous, puzzling, or defensive thoughts. Take your body awareness from up here and bring it down to your legs and your feet and begin to deep breathe. Notice your breathing and slow it down, squeezing out the old air. Feel in your legs and feet. And with that, you can continue without all the energy going up into your head into thinking. You're going to allow some space and openness in the conversation. And be grateful that you are not arguing. You are engaged in a pleasant, mutually supportive conversation. Now, if it was too high already, then make a graceful exit. Smile maybe and say, I really need a few minutes to think about what we've talked about so far, and I'll be back in just 5 minutes, and then we can continue. Or maybe 10 minutes, whatever feels right for you. So what components would you have to have this mutually respectful and peaceful discussion? Well, first of all, there's give and take. One person is not dominated. One person is not monologuing. We don't want that. We want it to be a back and forth discussion. So notice if you've said too much. If you have, just stop and wait. The other person will likely respond. If the other person has gone on for too long, see if you can find a way to interrupt them very gently by saying something like this. Well, stop there if you would. I want to make sure I really understood you correctly. You want equal airtime if possible, at least relatively equal airtime. Another way to do this is to repeat back accurately what the other person has said before adding your own perspective. You can also empathize with your partner's perspective, even if it's not your perspective. After you've done that, you'll be able to empathize more with the other person. They'll know that you heard them correctly. They can't be saying, oh, you didn't listen, because if you could repeat it back accurately, obviously you did listen. And by doing that repetition back, you will empathize with them automatically. You will. Just by repeating back their words, especially if you're doing your best to do that, that you can empathize and understand their perspective, even if it's not yours. So to conclude, the idea is to tune in, really tune in to the other person's words, voice, body language, and to tune into your own words, voice, thoughts, and body language to make sure that everything is nice and chill and relaxed and peaceful. And by doing so, you'll likely have discussions that are very supportive, respectful, and feel good for both people. And you're going to keep observing your emotions and thoughts in an objective, neutral way all the way through discussion, and tune into the other's words, their voice tone, and body language to better understand and empathize with them. And by doing all these things, it really is possible that you'll have a peaceful environment in which to have a good discussion, even if you're talking about things that in the past you haven't been able to really discuss without it, getting argumentative or having one person or the other leaving the discussion and not feeling so good. I hope this is helpful.